There is.
Oh, there is.
It's a fee. Yeah. Good evening. I'd like to call to order a public hearing on proposed appropriation ordinance for May 1, 2025 to April 30th, 2026. On April 22nd at 6:30 p.m. Please rise. Join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Jerry Daly.
Here.
Trustees Richmond. Present. George Duberstein.
Here.
Priest.
Here.
Georgiana Duberstein. Here. Koval. Here. And Williams.
Here. We have quorum. I need a motion for approval of the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein. Aye. Koval. Aye. And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mary, any comments or Kelly? Presentation?
That would be me.
Janet?
Good evening, everyone. The appropriation hearing notice was published on April 8th in the Daily Herald for anybody to see. I've also displayed the paper copy of it in our Village Hall lobby, so if anyone came in, they were able to obtain that and read it. It was also posted on our website. Those are some legal requirements that we have to do. Since the last board meeting, I made some changes to the budget, mostly due to the fourth well bid and the timing of the completion of that whole project. I removed the construction cost and decreased the engineering fees for the resurfacing of the Public Works parking lot and the North Street. I did keep some expense in for the engineering for those projects, as those will need to be reviewed later at the end of this next fiscal year, since they are earmarked to be worked on the following fiscal year. With the changes, we will take less out of the general capital account to cover the projects in the general fund. That amount is approximately $226,000. That should leave the general capital reserve with about $424,000 at the end of the next fiscal year. The fourth well bid came in a little bit higher than what we originally had in the budget, so I did increase the construction cost. Mayor Daley and Trustee Koval and I all sat down to discuss all these changes. And this is what we came up with. We still would look to borrow the $750,000 from the bank when the time comes this year. And we were looking to use approximately $975,000 out of our water sewer capital reserve account. This will help cover the well and other related items in the proposed budget for the water fund. At the end of that fiscal year, the water capital account will have approximate balance of $500,000 if we use the full $975,000. Does anybody have any other questions with this appropriation ordinance? This is the same type of document that you had that was presented at the last meeting with those changes, basically.
With what's going on at the federal level and some of the cuts are being made and so forth, and impacting a lot of the states, is this higher because of that? I mean, is that part of the issue with a lot of the cuts that are being made at the federal level and then states having to?
Is it higher, meaning the bid?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That I can't answer. You would have to ask those contractors. I don't know if some of
There
that
would be
came
a
in.
possibility, Doug,
Yeah.
and board members, that the contractor took into account tariffs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And I don't know that as a fact, but they would be foolish not to. They also have, no doubt, some contingency in their planning. Most contracts of this size, this type, will have a clause in it that would allow them to increase the cost for things that are beyond their control. So I can't say one way or the other that will happen or won't, because we don't know what is or isn't going to happen with tariffs. So it's a possibility that the price will go up.
So it's not something that we can say no more than.
No, unless you want a partial well.
Okay,
I shouldn't even joke about that. It's, no. And the contract would be standard. I mean, every big project we've had those sorts of possibilities.
okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom. Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I just have one quick question for Kelly. On your estimate of revenue, I think I know where it's going, but the replacement that when the state eliminated this grocery tax and we implemented it locally, where does that apply?
Well, that's later on the agenda with the estimated revenue, that's not the appropriation ordinance, but to answer your question, that's under sales taxes, under the general fund.
So the 630 or 530,000 is in there somewhere?
Going to my document. Yeah, 530,000 in sales tax for the whole year.
Yeah.
That will
Now-
keep our
Now,
grocery tax.
is that 530,000 the total amount that we would get as a result of our
Yes.
action?
Yes, because we made the change to allow us to still collect it.
What we changed was the grocery tax.
Right, so that's all part of
The-
it.
The amount of money that we made last year for grocery tax was $112,000. That's what we were going to lose if we did not pass the ordinance. we did
So
last
where
year.
does the extra
That makes up all the sales taxes within the village of Hainesville.
Sales tax above and beyond grocery tax.
Ah, okay.
Okay?
All right, so the only thing the state then eliminated was the grocery tax, not other
As of
sales.
January 2026, the state's grocery tax is gone.
Okay. Yeah, I know that, but
Yeah.
that was the only tax that they did, so.
So this year, there's going to be 2%.
Doug,
Oh, no, go ahead.
So that means that there's 2% tax
No.
on groceries?
Our grocery tax won't take effect until the state's
Oh,
is canceled.
oh,
So hypothetically, if we did nothing with that well, would the other three still be enough to supply the water that we need?
We only have two.
We only have two?
Only two wells.
only
The reason we refer to this as well 4,
Yeah.
one time the village had 3 wells.
Okay.
Well 2 was closed 15 or 20 years ago
Yeah.
because it was pumping sand.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's been closed, sealed. There is a well
Just
2.
two. Gotcha, okay. I thought, 4, wait, we got 3 still. Okay, gotcha, 2. Okay,
Okay?
okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? All right, then we have public comments. Anyone in the audience have any comments or questions? All right. Any other discussion? Need a motion to adjourn the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Closed at 6:38. To the next agenda. I'd like to call the regular board meeting for the Village of Hainesville to order at 6:38 on April 22nd, 2025. Roll call, please.
Mayor Jerry Daly.
Aaron.
Trustees Richmond. Present. George Duberstein.
Here.
Crease.
Here.
Jan Duberstein. Here. Vogel. Here. And Williams.
Here.
We have quorum. Need a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Crease.
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein. Aye. Vogel. Aye. And Williams.
Here. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Motion carried.
Okay. Public comments? From a student from
Yes.
one of the classes?
Oh, yeah, Business Central, yeah.
It's not a quiz. North or Central?
Central.
Mr. Rourke?
I've had him for 2 years, but now I have Miss Garino.
Okay.
Yeah, she's newer. Yeah.
Welcome. Typically, we offer pictures afterwards to prove
Okay.
your attendance.
Got it. Thank
Mere
you.
$5, no problem. All right, thank you. Need a motion for the consent agenda. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Priest,
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein, Vogel,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carries.
For you, being the only student present, the board gets a packet full of all this information that we will be voting on tonight. I mean, it's a lot of paper. They get it electronically, I'm too old. They get this Thursday or Friday before the meeting, have a chance to go through it, and if there's questions, we're available in the village hall to answer that, email, phone call, visit. That's why there may not be a lot of discussion on topics tonight. Any board member can, at the meeting, raise an issue with any one of these items, and we can talk about it before the board. So if all goes well, we'll have a very short meeting. You get to go home and do your homework.
Got it.
Okay, we're down to reports, discussion, finance.
We had our last CD come due, so Kelly looked into current CD rates and also our money market rates, and between Jerry, myself, and Kelly, we decided we were going to put it into the money market account instead of redoing another CD. So we're moving $157,496 into our money market accounts,
Which has got a higher interest rate.
much higher, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it.
It's a protected account, it can't go down.
It's a money market.
It's money market, federally insured.
Federal.
It's with the Illinois State Treasurer.
They can't take it back. 3H Club, Georgiana?
I've joined the Grays Lake Senior Center, and I've been stealing some of their ideas for our group. So this next meeting, which will be on May 6th, will be show and tell, for people to bring things and talk about anything that they want to talk about. They also had a mystery program, which I thought was interesting, and I'm going to try and fit that into our one of our meetings. On Swelco, we have a lot of recycling and other events coming up. On May 10th, we have our compost event. We're up to 20 gallons, that's about 4 buckets, that you can come and you bring the buckets and Public Works is kind enough to fill them for you. And it's going to be over at Avon Township as opposed to at the Village Hall, since we have a new parking lot that hasn't been sealed yet. On July 16th is our shredding and recycle event for anybody who has papers, important papers that they want to get rid of. And recycling is books, stuffed animals, batteries, musical instruments, eyeglasses, hearing aids. I mean, it's amazing the stuff that we've collected. And also we will have representatives from our state senator and state representative there as well, and be giving out goodies appropriate to compost. And the latest thing that we've found out that we can do, and I'm really excited because people have asked about this for quite some time, we're going to have a chemical recycling event on August 16th. and that'll be in the parking lot at Prairie View School from 8 to 2:30. But you have to make an appointment. There's an article in the newsletter, it'll be up on the website. There's a small list of things that can be included, but I have a flyer that'll be ready that will list all the things that you can put in and the things that you can't put in. For example, you can put in oil-based paint, but not latex paint. So I'm excited that we have all these things lined up for the residents. And it could be, since it will be out on our sign, it would be available for anybody in the Round Lake communities or Grace Lake to come and participate in it.
Right. Thank you very much. George, some more?
Okay, I just might point out that the state rep and the state senator will also be at the compost event as well. All right.
I can't take you anywhere, Ken. Without you breaking something.
Take it out. I spent a lot of time today dealing with the people that will support this Civil War event. I sent an email to all the reenactors and presenters. I sent one to the fire department for EMS support, to the police for their support, to the group for portable toilets, for the audio people who are going to support the narrated battle. Masonic Lodge is going to provide the food, and to the Park District in Round Lake for the benches and the signs that we put up. So we're moving ahead with this thing.
Very good. Sorry I won't be around for it.
Well, you can always visit.
Yeah, I could always go.
I might have to pay to get in now. All right. Thanks, George. Madam Clerk?
Okay, as of yesterday, April 21st, the election has officially been certified. So I would like to congratulate Mary Koval, George and Georgiana Duberstein, and Chris Abramson on the election. They will be sworn in at our May 27th board meeting. Let's see, we have begun planning for the party in the park that is going to be held on August 23rd at Union Square Park. George and Georgianne and Ann have been meeting with the staff, and we're going to be having an upcoming meeting where we are going to start finalizing some of the details and everything else for the upcoming event. And then last Thursday, we kicked off our first food truck event of the year. It was a lovely rainy day, but it went on, and Mary sat and welcomed the few, came out in the rain and everything. So, but starting this week, we will actually be relocating over to the Public Works Park area for our food trucks. It'll open up the rest of the parking and everything else here for the residents. So there'll be seating and things like that over there. So come up and there's no trucks, don't be concerned, they will just be over there. So that is all.
Public Works Department.
In front of the new park area.
Right. In front of the Public Works Department.
Yes.
Okay. And just on a note about that, just today, Israel and Tony put parking blocks along the edge of the park since we're not doing the construction. And it would have been too easy to drive into the park, and we certainly didn't want that. So they picked them up and installed them along that edge.
Christina, do you still need help
With?
for the summer event?
Yeah, so we are going to be, we're having a meeting on May 7th. If you want to join for a meeting, that will be open to the public. And then, yeah, if you want to just help as far as outside of that, absolutely. We will,
What time, Lisa?
it's at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? My very short report is in the packet. That'll be my last written report, mayor's report. The end is nigh. Okay, business. Need a motion for the approval of the appropriation ordinance for fiscal year May 2025 to April 2026.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Priest,
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein,
Aye.
Koval,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried, ordinance number 25-4-376.
And need a motion for the approval of the budget fiscal year May 2025 to April 2026.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Priest,
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein,
Aye.
Koval, and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Need a motion for the approval of the estimate of revenue for fiscal year May 2025, April 2026. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond, George Duberstein,
Aye.
Priest,
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein,
Aye.
Koval, and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And need a motion to award the bid for well for construction to H. Linden and Sons for $1,441,944. We received 3 bids. This was the lowest responsible bid. So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Any discussion?
I just have a couple questions about bid information. I know the engineering firm handled the review of the bid, and all people who bid met the same qualifications, and they met all of the items we put in our request for proposals.
All did. And this, the particular low bid was double checked for. The bid package requested X quantity of this item and 20 of that. And the engineering firm goes through line item and checks quantities, make sure they match.
Does the engineering firm also review references for that or other work that they've done?
In your packet, you've got a letter of recommendation for well for improvements to me. And it says, one paragraph of quote, GHA, K-Walt, Hamilton, has worked with H. Linden and Sons on several similar sized projects for multiple villages for many years, and we have found them to be a competent contractor. Therefore, we recommend.
And if we had a bid where they were not familiar with the company, would they do a reference check or review of previous work?
We have done that in the past. It's been a couple years since we had a project where we didn't have a familiar company. Okay? Any other questions? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Priest,
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein,
Aye.
Koval, and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, board. I was looking back through some old mayor's reports, and I think it was in 2018, I found the first discussion of this well. And so we've come a long way, and I'm glad we're at this point. Yeah, they will be, I think it was 2018 or 19 we first started talking about it. All right, I need a motion to approve the ILM proposal for the 2025 Cranberry Lake Management. This is for May only, and it's a single month approval that allows the contractor to start services early in the spring. I couldn't sign this contract going forward, so I can do it for a month, and it was at their request. Motion? So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm concerned that this is getting the foot in the door for ILM to be continuing for many years to come to be handling the Cranberry Lake restoration. When we looked at their proposal, their prices went up each year. And in actuality, their prices should go down each year because as they get rid of more of the invasives and the more that they do, it should be less work that they have to do each year. And so that concerns me. Also, the fact that they said in future years that they're going to be using this heavy equipment that they have, that concerns me about protecting all of the native, the good native stuff that we have shepherded so well for all these years. So those are concerns that I have.
Any other discussion?
And wasn't there some issue with them once before, several years ago, when they had a burn and they did it the wrong time of the year and they killed all the nests, bird nests? I don't remember.
Yeah,
but it seemed to-
it was a report from the Lake County Health Department because they're the ones that are in charge of the lake. And they said that ILM had waited too long in the spring to do the burn, and it burned the nest of the wetland birds.
If my, not my memory, but I looked at this concern, wasn't that 10 or 15 years ago?
Oh, yeah, George said that it was a
Okay.
while ago, but I'm just making sure that the facts were straight.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Nay.
Reese,
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein,
Nay.
Koval,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We need a motion to approve the Eubanks environmental proposal for fiscal year 2025, 2026 for many services only.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Reese,
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein,
Aye.
Koval,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I need a motion to approve the proposal for professional geospatial services for Hainesville's GIS service 2025-2026 for Gable Hamilton.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Just a question, what is GIS services? What is it?
GIS?
GIS, I'm sorry, what does it encompass? I just don't know, so, yeah.
I just saw it again. Essentially what it is all of most of our infrastructure, sewer lines, water lines, street lights, stop signs, almost anything of any importance has been physically located and given coordinates, and it's within a program that we can see. If we get a, talking about well 4, we need the location of the water main that we know runs that way near North Street. Okay? When we have this all of this researched and spotted, we now can go to our program and it will tell us, here's the line, here's where it goes. So what we used to have way back when was a big map that showed it physically. But any change that was ever made, you'd have to submit to the engineering firm and say, give us a new map. So now it's all within a computer program. For example, we had a sanitary line leak on Deer Crossing not all that long ago. And we found a mistake in the GIS because it said, we believe the sanitary line is here, but when we dug there, it wasn't. It was 3 feet off. So we can now, well, we have contacted Gable. So here's the location. We found it, changed it in our mapping, and now we know.
So you can respond to things quickly.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Does it go down as far as the B box or? is it
Oh,
just-
every D box has been located on it.
Okay, I just wanted
A few years ago, it was Robinson at that time, hired an intern that went and located 99% of the bee boxes. We've also located the trees, that easement trees, water outlets, manholes, a lot. All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Priest,
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein,
to, aye.
Vogel, and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Closed, 7 o'clock. Thank you all.
Homework time.